Hey folks, and welcome. I'm going to help you with your budget. I'm going to jump right into it. Let me minimize my screen and let's do it. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to go over the mechanics of how I budget, just the nuts and bolts of how to do it. And I'm going to assume that maybe you don't do a budget on a regular basis, but if you do, you can kind of skip ahead where I'll go through why a budget is so important. And so the first thing is I'm going to go over the functionality here. I use EveryDollar. I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's something that Ramsey Solutions came up with, and I'm not affiliated with them. I just really enjoy using it. It's helped me a lot. I initially started out with the free version, but it was so helpful that I ended up paying the $100 a year. And the $100 basically gets you the ability to have all your transactions imported directly, so you can drag and drop. You do not have to do that. The free version, you can manually create a transaction and have that transaction then allocated. It's just more cumbersome. It's going to be more work. But if you're interested in doing that, then by all means. So the first thing is, let's say you want to create a transaction. You go down here, you hit plus, $100. And let's just say it was at, let's say you've got a gas guzzler and you spent $100 in gas. All right. So over here, you can see all of these transactions. Now, these are transactions that I'm going to do, even though they say May 6th, May 7th. That's because I created it, yesterday or today. But this is for the month of June. So I've jumped ahead. You can jump ahead to any month that you want. I've jumped ahead to the month of June so that I could show you how to do a budget. Okay. And these are all fake transactions that I've created just to kind of give you an idea how to do it. So the first thing is I'm going to go over the layout. So the layout is you have these different groups. This is your income group. This is your favorite groups, giving groups, saving, housing, etc. You can add additional groups if you want. Down here, you just hit add group and give it a title, and you're good to go. The additional groups that you add, it can be basically unlimited, but I've found that too many groups can be a little bit confusing because you just keep scrolling until you find it. So I try to keep things fairly simple. And so what I'm going to do is start allocating these transactions and show you some of the benefits. So let's just go down the list. The first one is going to be electric. That's going to be a part of your housing. So $150, and boom, we put it in electric. Now, I had originally planned $100 here, but that transaction was $150. You'll immediately notice that it says 100 was planned, 150 was spent, and so it goes in red. Means we spent more than we were expecting, and that may be a problem. The way to get that in green is to adjust our budget. Now, if you look up here, it says we're at 182.66 over budget. So if we adjust this to 150, which is what we spent, notice up here how it went up to 232.66. So we're over budget even more. All right, so let's go down the list. Now notice how for Wawa, it gives us eating out. It's basically guessing and saying maybe you were eating out. It's got some predictive capabilities that I found are decent. It's not perfect. Sometimes it'll do things like, I don't know why it would default to Wawa being eating out when $100 at Wawa. I mean, I would think that would default to gas. But anyways, so let's go down to gas. Got $200 planned. We're going to drag that over to gas. All right, so you can see we spent 100, we planned 200. CVS, that's going to be medical. We got prescriptions right there. Church, we're tithing. All right, so for debt, right here I've got two items that are debt. Credit card, say we've got a $200 payment, and then Honda Financial $350. There is a debt section. Now, I added this. If you add a debt, it actually gives you the ability to give it a name and then what kind of debt it is, the balance, the minimum payment, and the interest rates. Now, you don't have to do every one of these, but the benefit to that is it allows you to track where you are on a monthly basis, and it'll go into the next month. It'll see that you paid your minimum payment, and it will calculate out the formula and say this should be your balance the following month. And so credit card, Honda Financial, All right, so it's tracking how much we paid so far. Now, if we go back up to our income, so it does not have to be under the income listing. It does not have to be one line item for each paycheck. Now, if your paychecks tend to vary, you may want to have different line items, but you don't have to. So job one, boom, $1,000 goes in there. So we planned having $2,500 coming in. So far, we've only received $1,000. We do that again, and now we received $2,000 out of the planned $2,500. Job two, $750. So right now we're at $2,750. We've received out of our projected $4,000 of income that we were expecting to get. Now the predictive technology is good here. So it says Hulu. We can just hit the plus sign, and if we go all the way down, right there, Hulu, $15. So it tracked us. Same thing for Netflix, and it has tracked us. Now, same thing for Kroger. It predicted that would be in our food and miscellaneous. So this is pretty important because when you do a budget, you do not want to have 15 line items for all of the little piddly transactions. Nobody has time for that. If you want to do a budget in 10 minutes, and really when I do my budget, probably spend 10, 15 minutes a month on it. It's a very small amount of time, but I've been doing it forever. And so when you're starting out, you're going to try to find a balance. And I love to have a miscellaneous category because I don't care enough to track that I spent $13 at Walmart and $14 on Amazon. I mean, I don't want to go through creating all those different line items. So what I think we need to do is figure out on a monthly basis, how much are you going to do as miscellaneous? And I would keep that separate from your groceries. So Kroger, I've got that as food and miscellaneous. We were planning $750. We've only spent $100. Eating out, Panera Bread can go into eating out. Oh, and it picked up Sunoco as $50 for gas. Let me finish these. Let's see, here's our water. Trash is going to go right there. Walmart, that's going to be a grocery. We'll put that in food and miscellaneous. New car savings. Okay, so we also have one of the default groups that comes is savings. So I'm a big fan of setting up sinking funds, and so new car savings. So I'm saving. Let's just say I'm saving up money for a new car, and I'm doing $100 a month, or whatever it is. I've got a little line item here, new car savings, and that's money that I've set aside. Mortgage, housing, and rent. All right, and then the last one is going to be patient first, had a medical event. Okay, it's not there, so I add the item and just say doctor visit. And $150. And I track that over there. Okay, so we've done our budget. And up here we can see we're at negative $382.66. So this is not good. We're in the negative, and we want to figure out how we can clean this up. Well, the first thing is we need to go through here, and if our income is accurate, and this is going to be $4,000, okay, then we have a problem because we're in the negative. So maybe we start cleaning some things up. So birthday gift, nope, you don't get a birthday gift. You're in the negative. No birthday for you. You have credit card debt. You don't get a birthday gift. Sorry. Christmas, you're not entitled to Christmas. You get nothing. No Christmas for you. Car insurance, you got to have car insurance. Let's say food and miscellaneous, we're at $750. That's a problem. We do not need as much food, and we definitely shouldn't be eating out. So let's just say we're going to trim this back to 50. And notice how up here, by me reducing it, we're now getting closer to being on a zero-based budget. So if I zeroed the food and miscellaneous out, you can see it takes us to $627.34. So if we have no additional expenses this month, and we're at $627.34, this now says it's an EveryDollar budget. What it means is every dollar is accounted for. It's a zero-based budget, and we're now solid. So if we go down the line and we scroll through real quick, there is no red on the screen. We have nothing in red. So this is where, that's the mechanics. EveryDollar is very user-friendly. It's not a complicated process, and it's one of those things that if you figure out the mechanics in the first 10 minutes, you should be good. But now what I want to focus on is the thought process when it comes to debt. Your budget is going to be heavily contingent on two things. It's going to be contingent on your income, your obligations. So it was very simple for us to slightly reduce how much we were eating out and to reduce how much food we were buying. Okay. But you it's really non-negotiable. You need to pay your credit card unless you're going to destroy your credit. Same thing. You got to pay your car payment or else they're going to repo it. And so this is why getting out of debt is so powerful. It's not that debt by itself is the world's worst thing. Okay, you're not a bad person for being in debt. I had college debt when I graduated, car loans. We had some credit cards. So you're not a bad person for having debt. That anybody who says that is just being too over the top. But what happens is it just eats away all of your monthly margin. And unless you have this really high income, there's no way you can't be penalized for it on a monthly basis. And anybody who says you have to have debt, that's not true. You may have debt for a short period of time, but it's not something that we should grow comfortable with. All right, so let's just say, for example, we wipe out our debt. So right now, we've zeroed out. We have a zero-based budget, and let's just say, for example, that we don't have this credit card. All right, and we don't have this car payment. We paid off our car. Look at what happens to our budget. All of a sudden, we've got $420 extra a month left over. It automatically means you can have a little bit more fun. Right now, we've got a $50 fund. Let's up that to $100. Okay, you want to go out to eat? We were at $200. Let's go back to $200. We want to eat better food, higher quality food. We'll go back up to $750. And we want to save more for a car. $197.34. Boom. We have accounted for every aspect of our budget. We're a zero-based budget. We eliminated our debt, and now we have a zero-based budget. This is the power of getting out of debt. If you are on the fence about should I budget, should I not budget, should I get out of debt, the answer is you need to get out of debt yesterday. Okay, and if you didn't get out of debt yesterday, then start today, because getting the margin in your life, giving you the peace of mind to move forward without this ridiculous $300, $400, $500 car payment, credit card debt, student loan debt. My wife and I, we had $70,000 in student loans, and the freedom to not have to deal with $1,000 a month student loan payments and all that nonsense. It's just so liberating. So if you're working the debt snowball and you're trying to figure out how, the only way you can make progress with the debt snowball is by squeezing every dollar you can out of your budget by using this budget. If you don't budget, you will not be able to use the debt snowball like it was meant to be used. Some people, very few people, are just not going to spend money if we don't have a very, very specific game plan on how we're going to spend our money. We're going to run into a situation where it just vanishes. And so the biggest issue is not the fixed grocery bill or the fixed car payment. It's going to be this miscellaneous and unplanned. So this is, consider this Amazon, Target, Bass Pro Shop, whatever it is, whatever your vice is, this usually ends up being like that or like that. I can't tell you how many people, and I've done FPU where I've led FPU for a few hundred people, and I can't tell you how many people where when I sit down with them and we go over their budget and I ask them about their miscellaneous random purchases, how much do they spend randomly? And it's usually maybe $100, $200, $300. I really don't know exactly, but it's usually about that. That's usually the answer that they give. But what ends up happening is when we go through their monthly budget and we add up everything that they would spend on whatever it is, the random stuff, it usually is $500, $600, $700. And the same thing is for groceries. So groceries, the thought process is, well, you got to eat. Okay, yeah, you do have to eat. Okay, but you don't have to eat out, not if you're in debt, and you don't have to buy everything that you see in the store, and every time you check out, all of a sudden it's a $400 bill, and you do that every week, and it's $1,600 a month. There is a way to control these things. There is a way to track these things so that they don't get out of hand. But the important thing to remember here is that if you are tracking it, then you can make adjustments. If you don't track these things, you don't know how to adjust your behavior. And debt and personal finance, the vast majority of it is controlling your behavior and adjusting your behavior as you work your way through the process. Tracking and keeping track of the information is the most important thing you can do, because it's going to influence your behavior and how you handle things moving forward. So I really encourage you to start. Let me know if you have any questions, but this is absolutely going to be foundational to you succeeding, moving forward in your financial journey, figuring out a way to get out of debt, balance your budget, zero out those ridiculous expenses, and getting control of your financial future. So like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and I wish you the best of luck. I really do want you to succeed with money, and hopefully you can get there sooner than later. Thanks.